Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine. Time to talk a little wrestling here, as just like we have with the swimmers headed for the NCAAs, we've got Navy wrestlers headed to the NCAAs in St. Louis. Jadaen Prince, Jadaen Bernstein. Jadaen, for you, you've seen this path before. You know, as a wrestler at this point of the year, nobody's 100%. We know that physically, it's a grind. But how do you feel as you head into the NCAA tournament here?
I mean, everyone has their bumps and bruises. Like you said, no one's 100%. But I'm feeling pretty good. Trying to get everything in your body just feeling good enough to go and compete. But once you step on the mat, nothing really matters anymore. It doesn't matter if like your shoulders hurt or you're feeling like your fingers are a little messed up. But once you step on the mat, guys don't care. You just got to go out there and perform. You got to go out there and win. So like right now, it's just getting in the right mindset, getting everything to feel as good as you can, and then once you're out there, it's game time.
How on earth do you guys take care of your bodies through the course of a wrestling season? I mean, it's got to be one of the hardest in terms of sports, because there are no timeouts. There's no calling a timeout and getting a sub in for you or anything like that during the course of a match. How do you guys keep your body at peak physical condition for what is a very long season?
I mean, that for me, I've learned over the past couple of years, fighting through injuries a lot last year and a little the year before. Just every day is you're spending time in the training room, like 10-20 minutes every day saves hours later. Whether it's like last year when I had a sprained LCL, like it saved spending time in there. This year, icing, stretching out, getting anything like foam rolled, spending all that time after practice really helps you recover. And we have certain days off where it's like feel good, where you'll do like shake out, run, recover, but normally it's just you got to put in the time. You can't just practice it over, chalk it up, and leave. You got to go in the training room before or after and just make sure your body feels good.
Jared, first time obviously for you, how do you lean on a guy like Jadaen and other upperclassmen in the room to get ready and to kind of get a taste of what you're in for coming up here at this NCAA championship?
Well, I know towards the beginning of the season I was going through a rough time in wrestling, and I pulled Jadaen aside and asked him if he'd been through some hard times like that. He gave me his perspective of his plebe year and basically how to tackle that problem. And I think towards this postseason I've kind of figured it out a little bit, and it's gotten a lot better.
What has the transition been like for you? I mean, the wrestling part probably easy, because as an amateur wrestler, to be good enough to come here to the Naval Academy and wrestle, you've got that part taken care of. But just the enormity of being a student athlete at the academy, all that's expected of you, how hard was that transition?
Like I said in the beginning, I think it was pretty difficult. I wasn't balancing all the stuff quite right, and I was struggling in wrestling, school, and I think towards the end of the year I've kind of figured out a little bit better, and my wrestling's pretty good right now, I think, and I'm figuring school out a little bit better. So I mean, just figuring out what works best for you here, and I think that's been like the key.
From a wrestling standpoint, what was the difference maker? Where did the light bulb kind of go off for you, where you've really been on a nice run of success here?
I mean, kind of like I said in the last interview, just doing what I do best and not trying to change, that much. I mean, obviously prepare, fix the things that you do wrong, but, stick to what you do best, Don't try to change your style just based on how other people wrestle, so.
Difficult because every guy you wrestle at this level is good. I mean, there are no days off at the Division I level.
Definitely.
We talk about it with teams all the time at this time of the year, but for guys that you have faced multiple times, win or lose, do you ever see guys make adjustments against you? Do you make adjustments against them, or do you just kind of stay with your strengths and try to dictate your match against guys like that?
No, there's definitely adjustments, just like any other sport when you're competing against someone. Just like you see like a series, whether it's like basketball, if you see like a 7-game series, there's adjustments that are going to be made. Like that's why sometimes you'll see a match like that might be 10-0, and then all of a sudden it might be a 4-3 match, because these guys are making adjustments, and then they come back and you watch film, you work through things. So that's like a huge part too, is the preparing, the watching film. So you'll see that a lot at the NCAA tournament. If guys wrestled someone at conference, they'll come back, make adjustments, and you might see some upsets. So,
Jared, is there a great anticipation for this opportunity for you here headed to the NCAAs?
Oh yeah, definitely.
When you look at your draw, I'll ask you the same question there. You look at it, perhaps an opportunity against maybe somebody you've seen somewhere already this year. How much is it dictating your match and maybe having to make adjustments against some guys that you've already seen this year?
Like Jay said, making adjustments is, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. But like I said before, just sticking to what you do best. Getting to the attacks that you're good at is what I like to focus on. And obviously, if a guy's good at something, be aware of it and don't get in that position. Avoid his good stuff, but also, don't be afraid to go after and get what you're good at. So.
For you, how different are you from the guy that started out as a plebe to where you are right now?
I've changed a lot, a little bit with my style of wrestling, but more mentally and how I approach wrestling in this tournament now. I know, like my plebe year, going in here, it was huge. Like you almost don't know how to handle it because the way this tournament's laid out, like you're in like the back. We'll be in like our back warm-up area, and you can't even see the arena. You don't even hear the arena. There's a couple TVs and like the bouts rolling through, so you know when you're gonna be up. But you walk down to the arena, and they don't let you on the mat until 10 seconds before your match. And there's 35,000 people just screaming, and there's like fans yelling at a scramble in like mat number 2, and then everyone's cheering, and so it's really shocking if you don't know what you're getting into, and it's almost like a gladiator effect.
I was going to say, almost like coming out of the Roman Coliseum.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're in the tunnel, and then all of a sudden you come out, and everyone's there. So developing and learning from that experience really helped me get ready for last year, and that's what I'm trying to get these guys in the right mindset for.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Congratulations on great seasons. Good luck this week in St. Louis.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, you can keep up with them. Live links will be available to the activity going on out in St. Louis by going to NavySports.com.